Hi, in this video I will show you how to put together the Christmas tree with train box card from Simply Crafty SVGs. So here are the pieces to the card. So here's a version of the card. It was just a quick kind of representation. I did this with a printing cut. I kind of just flattened them so you don't get the dimension when you flatten them, unless you print and cut like the individual pieces. That's the card, and it flattens to fit into the envelope. So that's what that card looks like, but it will sit up, which is why I like box cards. So we have the different pieces. So we have all these little pieces. So this is for the tree pieces. And I have a bunch of teeny, the really small ones are in here. So I just wanted to show you, that's why I use this in a little embellishment bowl, which is a freebie on our website, to hold the really small items so I don't lose them after I cut them. So the one thing that comes with the file is a print and cut Merry Christmas like this, if you want to use. Or you can see I have two different versions. I'm not sure. I played around with it in my software, and I believe I did this one on Cricut. I have multiple machines, so and then Believe is the other print and cut. So it's not meant to cut out, it's meant to print and cut, but you could do it in different colored paper, that kind of thing. So for here I did a print and cut for with this background. I kind of made this off-white, the tag. You can change the colors because it's an SVG file. In the extra stuff folder, I believe, yes. Anyways, so, but I also have a blank one in there, in the regular. So there's a blank that you can put your own words on, and that's where I added Happy Holidays. So I plan on doing a couple more of the cards to send out for Christmas. So I have them all set to go. So I just wanted to show you that you can put your own words on it as well. And I'll put those aside. So these are all the pieces. There's the train. And then these pieces, they're small, but here, let me show you. These are the front and side panels of the card. And then we have the presents are in here, as well as these little panels that'll go on the sides of the cards, and these go behind those little pieces. So the rest of them is just for piecing the bear and the star so I don't lose them. So we'll go over all that. I'm going to put these in little piles to the side. So let's go ahead and do the easiest one first, which is the tree. So we're going to move this. So these are the card pieces. So just before I move it, I don't have nails, so we have the front. This is the back, and this is the one of the inserts with the presents and the bear, and then this is the tree insert. So we're going to go ahead and put the things that we need to do on the inserts first. So we'll put this aside, and this is the envelope. So we'll go ahead and work on this tree. So let's find the tree pieces. So we have these three pieces, and then a star. So I'm just taking them out of here, and there's the star. So I stopped for a minute to emboss, use an embossing folder to emboss the trees, because I like the texture. So if you've never used embossing folders, it's one of my favorite things. When I can, I use it. It's something I like to do a lot. So we'll go ahead. So you could put the tree, you could do the tree like this. So this is a different color, which it is slightly different color. That's why we have this background for the the trunk. So what we'll do is put the large panel on, and then the next one, and the next one. So you could put the glue on the back of the panel, but I personally find it easier to put the glue on the panel I'm going to glue on, so if I drop the panel I don't get glue all over the one that's on the, either on the actual table that I'm working on. I do that a lot. So if I do it like this, so you could do this. If you do that, just don't get near the edges too close. So the next largest one lines up on the top. And then we'll put that top one. So I'm not popping it up, but this could be a thing that you use like a foam tape to give it more dimension, to pop it up. When I do cards, sometimes I kind of have to be thoughtful about what I'm going to pop up or not, especially if I'm going to send it in the mail. I don't like it too bulky, and I don't like to do special postage. So then we'll just go ahead and add the star. And I am using art glitter glue in this fine tip applicator. Just going to go ahead and pop it on, match it up. Just line up the top first and then the sides, and then you can just kind of push down those other sides. It kind of goes slightly over the green, but of course it's a little bulky with those layers. And then we'll just simply add it to this. So I can see where it's going to end. So you can just go like this. Doesn't matter if you go all the way to the bottom, just to get it attached. And just be careful towards the edges. I like to get a little close to the edges when I'm doing this, so you don't have any gaps or anything. Just line it up into the space. So this is just to help you place everything. I could do it without the shapes, but so it should be strong enough. It gives it a little weight, but I had the very first card I actually had a little bit too high, but it could, you see it stands up. So now we'll do the one that's a little bit more involved. Just go ahead and find the pieces for that. So I'm just going to dump them all out. So the bear has a lot of pieces, I'm not going to lie. So we have the bear, so we're going to tackle the bear first. But I'm moving all these pieces to the side. So here are all the pieces to the bear, and I'm not going to lie, it is pretty small. So, but the look it gives is a good look. I'm just going to grab something real quick here. It looks better when it's pieced together. So we have the face. So that's what's going to come up a little bit here. So I'm going to just do a light edging of brown ink. So when I put it on, it'll show the edges. So we have this black piece that you can see now that it's on there. We're just going to go ahead and put that behind here for the face. So it's really not, there's only a couple really hard pieces. So just add the glue to the back of the face, and then just line it up. So there's the eyes. So now we have this little piece, this little foot. So that consists of this and this. So that's a little bit. You could put glue around the edge here. Just really lightly. This is where having that fine tip applicator helps. Then what I'm going to do is take this pick-me-up tool, going to make sure that I have it situated the way I want. I'm making sure that the textured part's on the front as well, so it shows through that hole, but then get it in place. So now I can pick it up and get the edges. So that's what's going to be the little feet right there. So the last thing, and we have some cut lines, and you can see them. You can accent these cut lines by using a really fine, that's my dog behind me making noises, that if you want to do like a fine pen, if you want to practice on this, I would cut a couple since they're so small. But I'm just making it a little bit darker. I had to switch pens, but basically you can, if you have a steady hand, go along that edge to accentuate there's a cut there to face. You do have to be really careful, and then there's a couple cut lines if you care to accent them for the hands, not the claws, but you know what I mean. The hands on the teddy bear. So once we have that done, we can go ahead and just add glue to these two little areas for the feet. Just making sure I have it in the right spot. So piecing is a little bit of work, so if you do want to do like a print and cut, you could do that as well. I just like the layer look, so I'm just going to add a little glue to these areas to put those hands. I'm going to go ahead and add this little mouth. I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on the back of this, and I'm going to just line up that opening for the nose. Get glue at my fingertips. So there's the face, and then we'll go ahead and put the face on there here. And you can put glue on the actual back of the head if you would prefer. Just making sure it's lined up. Then there's a little teddy bear. And you can always add little white accents for the eyes, which I will do later. So that's that to piece together, and then we have these so I'll show you. We want to do this actually right on the insert rather than do it. So let me put that up there. I'm going to pull this down. So now you want to take these. I'm just going to give them a little ink on the edges to get rid of those white edges. We want the red ones, the ones on the outside, to be in the back. So we're going to take this part, the actual present, the largest piece on each side. And the reason we're not adding the bow is so we can match it up right here. So we're just putting it into its shape. So I'm just adding a little ink, and then we're going to go ahead and add this to the front, to the top here, give it a little bit more dimension. So if you were going to do, I don't typically do, I mean, I know people do like a ton of box cards for people as gifts. I tend to do my box cards for those that I know that will appreciate it, the time that goes into it. So I don't send as many as I do. I always do a personalized card. Just some are simpler than others. Yes, I do discriminate on who I sent it to, because, you know, my dad doesn't really care whether it's made. But he's gotten quite a few box cards, just because he's my dad. And my mother obviously always gets one. So the next thing we want to do is take this one and line it up. So I'm just going to do a quick inking. And this ink pad's no longer being sold, so you can use something similar. What I would do is add glue up here to the bow part, and then add glue to this. So I'd line it up with the bow first, and then once you get it in place, you can just set it down. Then here's the last piece for this, and then we'll put that middle one above. And I'll show you the difference, because I did a print and cut. I flattened these pieces on my original test version, and you can see that the dimension makes a big deal when it comes to doing stuff like this. That's why I like piecing, because it kind of gives it a dimensional feel. So it only goes on one way, so you have to look at the angle. So you can dry fit it before you put it on, before you put the glue on if you want. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody really will notice too much of that detail. And then we'll go ahead and just add this top piece. And this is angled. This top piece is angled. It's larger on the top. So the way it fits is there's a little line right here you can see on the left, like right below the area for the, just gonna go like that. Oops, I'm not in the center here, like that. And then we'll put the bear on top. So it's not really have to be perfect, it just, that's the placement of it, and then we'll go ahead and put the bear down. Should line up into place. Have a little glue showing through. Okay, so here's the difference, just so you can see. See how flat that looks when it's printed and cut? It's easy to do a whole lot, but just looking at how much more dimensional it looks, at least in my opinion. So I don't know if you can see that. So now we're going to go ahead and piece these together. So we have these, which will be little flaps on the side, just pieces together like that. So I already did one like that, so that's just simple. And then we'll piece together the train and put it on the front. Well, we won't put it on the front quite yet, actually. So we'll put parts of it on the front after we put a different panel. So here we'll go ahead and there's these 3 little pieces. So those will just line up like that. They're the same size, these last 2 are the same size, so they'll fit just the same. But you can see the tires show through. I prefer to put majority on the paper, but we don't know how far down it goes, so I'll just add a couple dots down here, the back, so you can see, so we don't see the glue. So there's a little bit of piecing on this one. You could add the glue to the entire back like this. You could even, if you wanted to, it'd be cute to have a a multicolored train with 3 different colors on the front of the... I went solid because I'm not quite sure. I know this is an involved card. This piecing goes anyways. So to have somebody do additional work. And I had a little glue on my fingertip here. So just get it lined up so that you can see that little green part in the front. It'll dry. I know I'm just getting a little wet, but it'll dry. And then what we'll do, that'll go there, but only after you put the front panel. So we're going to show you how to put these panels on. I'm going to fold this on the score lines. I'm going to fold down. So we're going to go ahead and fold those on the score lines. The same thing here. I'm going to fold it down as a mountain fold, some pen, and then it's going to fold back, because that's where you're going to put the back panel is right here, not here, right here. But let's start with this. So the piecing, I think, was the most time-consuming portion of this. This is just going to center to the front, just easier to put it on while it's flat. And you want the train to go over it, so I'm just making sure that it's centered on the left and right and similar space on the bottom. So that's what it looks like. And we'll go ahead, and I like to put the glue mostly on the bottom piece. So I'm just gonna add glue to this lightly. I'm being a little messy for time's sake, so you don't have to watch me with every detail here. If you wanted to, you could just add additional glue around the tires. That should be enough to hold it. Just line it up on that front panel. Just making little adjustments to get it in place. Then we'll go ahead and add these side panels. So those go down here, just center them. It would be cute if those were embossed, but you're not going to really see them that much once we have it unfolded because of those flaps. And then I'm not going to put the sentiment on quite yet. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add these 2 pieces. Just center it. Try not to get out of the camera. And so we're ready to put it together. So now we have this put together. We can just flatten it, so that'll come down like that. Go ahead and take the inserts, and I'm going to fold this one back to start the fold. Then I'm going to pull them forward. So this is going to be in the front. This one's going to be in the back. Oops, that's the back of it. This one's going to be in the back. So I'm going to fold it back on the tabs. And that will go back. So this creates the spacing you need for the back of the card, and again, this goes forward, so you have spacing for the box card. So I wanted to zoom out a little bit. So what we want to do is take this back piece first. So here's the front and the back, and then we have these tabs. And I'm going to fold them in. I want the texture to be on the outside. So I'm going to glue it like this to the inside of this side. So I'm going to add glue to this tab. Then line up this edge. You don't want to go over the edge, you want to just go up to it. Gives a little spacing in there as well. So we're not going to close it up quite yet. We're going to put the inserts in first. So we're going to start with the, I think this time the front. So we're going to put this in. So as you can see, it's going to be the front. So you want this tab facing towards the front of the card. So if you can see. So what we're going to do is right here, we're going to add glue to this tab. I'm going to line it up the way you're seeing it. This is going to go as close to this fold, like don't go all the way, but you can go near it. And I'm lining up the bottom of the tab to the bottom part. So you can see, I want to make sure, I'm going to fold this over, that it's flat and across. So I get it in place. I'm going to apply pressure to that tab. And then when we glue it, we're just going to glue it like that. So I'm going to get started on this back one, so we're not going to glue that quite yet. So this is not in our way. Now we want to take this. So what you're seeing is like this. As you can see, it's coming together. That's folded back. We're going to add glue to this. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to make sure this edge is close to that fold, but not over it. You can go up to it. It doesn't matter. It can have a little gap. Gap works as well. It doesn't have to be perfectly matched up. But I'm lining it up on the bottom. And you can see, I don't want to do much of anything right now. I'm going to flip it over and just show you. See, it's coming together. So once we get it in place, it'll create that 3D effect that the box card gives you. So what we're going to do is to glue them at once. So I'll show you in the next step. I started and I did it incorrectly and I had to take it apart. So when we add glue here, we're also going to fold back the tab for the tree and glue it at the same time. So you'll see this in the next step. We're just going to fold it over. And then we're going to fold this backwards like this. Then we're going to apply some good pressure to it. And then you can open it up. So the last thing we want to do is just glue this underneath. So what we would do is just add glue to this tab. You're going to gently bend it under. See that under that edge? Then apply pressure. So if you're used to doing traditional like box cards where you put them in afterwards, you can do that as well. I just think you get a good pressure when you do it this way. And there you go. So the only thing we have to add is your choice of tags. So I'm going to use the Merry Christmas this time. And of course, remember we have the Believe that you can print and cut as well, or a blank tag. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. That's the only thing I don't like about this. I like this this applicator because it has this thing to cover the tip, but it gets in your way. So there it is. There's the finished card with Merry Christmas on it. And I'm going to go ahead and flatten it, and then we'll just put together the envelope really quick. So the envelope, just fold it on the scores like this. So we're going to go like this, and then it's going to glue like that. So this is just a little insert to cover that area. So it goes like this. So I'm just going to add glue to, don't go all the way to the edges, just go around like this, and then go close to the openings. And then we can just place it down. You could use like a 5x7 envelope if you didn't mind it being just a little bit larger, because you can buy those off the shelf. But if you want to make your own, I usually like to use regular, a little bit more of a pattern paper than I do like a cardstock. I think cardstock's too heavy. So I just always note where the end starts here, so I just kind of mark it, and you can mark it with glue. Or you can go around this little edge right here and then just go inside. Doing that on both sides. Do that side first, and then I just kind of, if you put a little glue there and you did this, and then you'll know where to glue to go. A little tip that I just figured out after all these years of doing it by eye or marking it. And then when you close it, you can just glue it closed. So there's the envelope. So this flattens, so you want to put it in like this. And it flattens and will fit in there. Now my little tip, I don't say it in every single video, but my little tip is always to add, maybe, I always put a little bit like a folded piece of cardstock around it to protect it, so I don't have to do any special mailing, but you know, it's up to you what you want to do. So there it is again. You can do it like a print and cut. This is more like a print and cut feel, where it's not as dimensional, or the piecing version. So I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, if you liked it, please give me a little thumbs up. I'm dropping that. And or subscribe, and I thank you so much for watching.